I bet that you're a proactive entrepreneur who's looking for a powerful pitch deck presentation to help yourself or your business to secure the investment or the collaborations which you need to grow. And this can easily be done without blowing a huge budget. What I'm going to do today is to walk you through the exact process which I've used with every single one of my winning clients. You'll see that it's quite a simple process, but if you or your previous designer have overlooked any aspects of these components, then investors are going to be resistant to investing in your business. I'm James Alcock, and I've helped to build, design and scale over 25 digital businesses across a career spanning over 5 years with 2 startup incubators. And I've spent the last 2 years specializing as a professional pitch deck designer. I've helped people in all sorts of industries. Some have nothing more than an idea jotted down on their notes app, whereas others have a small business which is already operational. Honestly, the goal of this video is to get some of you to book onto one of my packages. Although my ultimate goal is for some of you to book onto one of my packages and then together we win. But whether you decide to work with me or not, I hope that by the end of this presentation, I've given you some valuable insights that you can implement into your own deck. You understand how I could possibly help you, how I help my clients already, and that I give you the confidence that I'm the right person to lead you to securing investment or whatever your desired outcome may be. The model which I use in every single one of my decks is something I call the investor model. And this is how I make sure that investors actually get emotionally invested in your deck, that your deck plays into the unique strengths of both yourself and your business, and that all of the data has been purposefully and strategically presented to give investors the most confidence in investing in your business. So, what is the investor model? I have 3 key steps that I tackle in every single deck that I build. I'll give you a quick overview for now, and then we can dive into each of these steps in much more detail very shortly. Stage number 1 is the gold hunt. And this is where I look for the unique strengths of both yourself and your business. Not only this, but I'll find the best data to support the trajectory that you're heading in. Stage 2 is writing the story. And this is where I'll take a step back and I'll strategically plan how to tell a compelling story, as well as how I'm going to tell it most effectively. And stage number 3 is purposeful design. And this stage involves a lot of carefully considered design decisions which help to give your deck a strong identity, as well as reflect your business in the best possible light. If you know how to be effective in each of these 3 areas and your business model is good, then you have an incredibly powerful deck. Now, just quickly before I explain each stage in more detail, I want to address some of the biggest problems and some of the biggest myths that I see within this industry. Now, I know a lot of startup founders. I've worked with plenty. So I'm sure there's a good chance you're watching this video so that you can get some tips to go away and build your own deck. And I get why you might think that, especially with the rise in the new AI tools, and some of them aren't actually that bad. I use some myself, but just as a starting point, not to create a finished product. Because there's a problem when you use AI, and this becomes much clearer when you consider copywriting. In my honest opinion, in July 2025, when it comes to copywriting, AI is a big pile of shit. It's usually quite cringy, it's very obvious when you've used it, and it doesn't sound human. And this is the big problem. When you rely too much on using AI tools, then your deck comes across completely inauthentic. Not only this, but it makes you look lazy. No serious investor is going to invest in your business if your deck is generic, if it lacks strong branding, and it's missing a quality human touch. Now, maybe you've invested in a pitch deck designer before, and you ended up with some slides which didn't convert. I see what's out there, and in my opinion, there's way too many designers who are just ripping people off. They have some outstanding looking decks in their portfolio, but what you've received has probably been quite generic and it lacks a clear strategy. I've had many clients come to me before with an existing deck which they believe to be good. And what I've helped to do is to completely shift their expectations of what a pitch deck should actually do for them. I've shifted their expectations to a much higher standard, and this has helped them to either secure investment or at the very least to be much more confident when they're presenting their deck. And finally, there's a big myth or a big misconception that only the big budget pitch decks can actually win you investment. Honestly, some of the decks from these big agencies look absolutely incredible. I'm not going to deny that. But the truth is that these incredible bespoke decks will please your everyday consumer much more than they please investors. All you actually need is a well thought out content strategy and clean professional designs. I can promise you this firsthand because 2 years ago, when my design skills were much worse than they are now, I was still helping clients to secure investment. I very briefly introduced myself at the start, but I'll tell you just a little bit more about myself and my experience now. So I worked with 2 different startup acceleration hubs or startup incubators, whatever you'd like to call them, across a period spanning more than 5 years. And during the final 2 years is when I started to specialize as a professional pitch deck designer. Now, I was incredibly fortunate to land these roles. It was a who you know, not what you know kind of situation. But regardless, the end result was that I got to work alongside some incredibly talented entrepreneurs. They were very knowledgeable, very experienced, and most of them very successful. Not only did I get to work with some amazing entrepreneurs, but we also had some angel investors as well as very experienced designers in our team. And everybody was more than happy to share their knowledge with me. And I absorbed as much as I could, and this really helped to sharpen my skills. I've helped all sorts of founders in all sorts of industries, all at different stages in their entrepreneurial journey. My success rate, you're probably wondering, is about 30 to 35%. But this is not the best indicator of how good a pitch deck designer actually is. And the reason for that is that I had to make a deck for any business that was put on my desk, regardless of whether I believed it was a good business or not. But if you'd like to make your own mind up, then take a look at my portfolio or any of my testimonials. I promise you that everything is completely legitimate and from real customers. Now, you're probably here for one of 2 reasons. Either I've posted a link to this video or to my website somewhere on an internet forum or on social media, or alternatively, one of my amazing former clients has referred me to you and you're watching this video to see what I'm all about. But regardless of which of these categories you fall into, you're here to learn about my deck building process. So let me tell you a little bit more about that right now. If you remember, phase 1 was the gold hunt, and this is where I'll uncover the unique strengths of you and your business. It could be a new technology, some unique product feature, or a distinct market focus. Anything and everything that sets you apart from the competition. Maybe you've got some strong early traction or some early signups, which could help to show market validation. The gold hunt isn't just about the strengths of your business, but also about the strengths of you, the founder. It's really important to show your passion, your expertise, as these help to add a lot of credibility which investors want to see. Maybe you've overcome some adversity, or you have a compelling background story. Even just having a strong visionary idea which shows outside the box thinking can help to hook investors. So we had the strengths of your business, the strengths of you as a founder, but I also make sure to look for all of the data and trends that help to back up your story with serious credibility. This could be market growth data, some keyword trends, some consumer behavior trends, or even some competitor performance insights. And this ensures that your deck isn't just compelling, but actually grounded in facts which investors can trust. I conduct premium market research and I align the data to the unique strengths of your business. Now, this might sound quite surprising, but there's way too many designers who actually overlook this stage. They either emphasize the wrong content or they don't shine enough light on what makes you and your business truly special. If you know how to be effective in this stage, you can get investors to become instantly excited and hook their attention from the start of your presentation. So stage 2 was to write the story. And this is where I carefully plan a narrative to captivate and to persuade investors most effectively. And you need to think about this on both the micro and the macro level. And by that, I mean that you need to think about the story of your deck as a whole, as well as the story of each individual slide. And like in the gold hunt, this stage is going to tie into the unique qualities of your business, as this can actually influence what emotion you're trying to invoke from the investors. You want to choose a flow which builds some tension by highlighting the problems and the challenges within your industry, and then it provides an effective resolution to show how you and your business are the ones who hold the solution. Now, this turns your idea into a genuinely compelling story that both hooks your audience and makes it much easier for them to say yes to you. You need to tailor the flow of your deck to trigger emotional responses, whether it's trust, excitement, empathy, or any combination of these. There's so much more to consider than just what the title of each slide is going to be that you want to include in your deck. And this is something which, again, most designers will overlook. They just present what they think the key data is and hope that that is going to do the trick. And stage 3 was purposeful design. This involves creating a theme for your deck, which helps to give it a strong identity, as well as thoughtfully crafting each individual slide to reflect your business in the best possible light. You want to make sure you use clean layouts as well as strategic visuals to highlight your strengths. And as I said, this helps to give your deck an identity, and it aligns with your brand to make it instantly recognizable to investors. The result is a professional looking deck which actually stands out, and it also helps to make consuming the information a pleasurable experience. This is going to put you miles above the generic templates which I see again and again and again. I always ensure that the deck feels like it was actually crafted by a human, avoiding the repetitive AI look that most designers will just accept without adjustment. And if you do this stage right, not only will your data and your story be clearer and more effective, but the deck will feel like it's actually uniquely yours, and this is seriously going to boost its impact. Now, there is also a 4th stage which I didn't mention earlier, and this stage is where you take over. This is all about putting your deck in front of the right people, as well as presenting it effectively. And this is going to be much easier when you have a great deck and you can actually understand its strategy. So just to quickly recap to make sure you consider everything. First of all, we have the gold hunt, then we have telling the story, purposeful design, and then over to you. When you put all of this together, you have the complete system which you need to allow investors to make confident decisions. Now, let me ask you one thing, just hypothetically, as you've made it this far. If you have a good business model and you were to follow everything that I just said, would you not feel much more confident in achieving your goal? Now, of course, there are some other small considerations. This has only been a short video. But if you have the passion and you follow my investor model, is there any reason why you won't succeed? Now, if you overlook one of these components, or you fail to tick every single box in each stage, this is the only way that you can fail. And with that being said, I'm gonna round things off here. But if you'd like to work together, then please get in touch with me, or if you've got any questions, I'll be more than happy to help. Wherever this video is, I'll make sure all of the right links are down below somewhere. I hope this video has been valuable to you and given you some insights to think about. I look forward to talking with you, to hopefully working together, and if so, to delivering the results which you rightfully demand. Thank you.